Following the article, Science and Colonial Expansion, The Role of the British Royal Botanic Gardens by Brockway, our discussion will revolve around the colonial botany, its history and related scientific and technological advancements, and its implications to the British Empire. This is Jessica Bautista, and together with Jean-Rimar SISON, we will be looking into how the system of Royal Botanic Gardens aided Britain's colonial expansion. Before discussing what colonial botany is, let us look into the largest herbarium and wild plant seed bank in the world. Considered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Kew Gardens, formerly called as the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew, has a large collection of living and dried plant specimens and a library. Other than being a collection and a garden, the network of Royal Botanic Gardens, which included Kew, once played a critical role in the expansion and management of the British colonies.
Since the 16th century, scientific knowledge and technical innovations has been the economic advantage of the West, such as advances in shipbuilding, navigation, weaponry, that allowed them to establish trading posts in different parts of the world. Furthermore, their advances in communication allowed Western scholars to exchange information and accumulate useful knowledge quickly. Linnean and Royal Society was established at 18th century. They were the learned societies that conducted experiments, published various materials, and helped in the dissemination of new information. Then, over the course of 19th century, new scientific institutions were founded, which increased the scientific knowledge in Europe. One of those institutions is the Kew Gardens. Kew Gardens started off as a royal hobby. When surgeon naturalists went on expeditions, they brought plant specimens back with them, which were then planted in the royal garden. They were your OGs and Shala plantitos and plantitas. One of those plantitos is George III. The state then recognized the value of the Kew Gardens, and in 1841, they were designated as a state institution, as well as serving as the nerve center for all the British colonial botanic stations. The first official director of the Kew Gardens was William Jackson Hooker, who served from 1841 to 1865, then succeeded by his son, Joseph Dalton Hooker, who served from 1865 to 1885. Then, in turn, he was succeeded by his own son-in-law, who is William Thistleton Dyer, who served until 1905. Kew Gardens served numerous purposes throughout the Hooker dynasty, including display and education, plant collection and classification, research, publication, and information storage and retrieval. However, the emphasis on the 19th century was on economic botany, which meant colonial botany. Kew became a hub for plant information and a depot for plant interchange, sending plants wherever it saw commercial opportunities. Plants might be shuffled at will in the Britain. Often, these plants were experimentally developed new and improved types at the Kew Gardens. Then, these plants were transferred from Kew to colonies. Tea plants and seed that were from India were sent to Jamaica. From Kew Gardens, tobacco was sent to Natal, South Africa. Papyrus, ipecac, and mahogany to India. Portuguese cork oaks to Australia and to Punjab. Liberian coffee grown from seeds at Kew to both the East and West Indies. West Indian pineapples to the Straits Settlement. And rubber-yielding vines from Assam to West Africa.
As mentioned on the previous slides, the Kew Gardens, with the coordination of the government, learned societies, and other gardens part of the Royal Botanic Network, facilitated the transfer of plants deemed to have great economic value or may serve other purposes vital on maintaining Britain's colonies. In this report, we will discuss the transfer of tea, cinchona, hevea, and sisal plants which were either directly facilitated or influenced by British Botanic Gardens. Tea is the national and even favorite beverage of the British people. The sole source of tea was once China, and the British East India Company traded opium with them in exchange of tea. Meanwhile, Saharanpur Botanic Garden suggested to plant tea on Himalayan foothills. However, Europeans have little knowledge on tea processing. The defeat of China during the Opium War gave the British opportunity. Robert Fortune brought tea plants, seeds, and Chinese experts on tea cultivation. The East India Company then cultivated tea plants on Assam.
Indian subcontinent, the British military and civil bureaucracy were greatly strengthened. The health of the troops stationed in India was a top priority. In 1860, Kew Gardens sent plant collectors to Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Colombia to obtain seeds and seedlings of the cinchona tree, the bark of which contained quinine, which is used in malaria treatment.
Seeds and seedlings of the wild cinchona variety were also sent to Kew for research and reserve supply. Meanwhile, British Botanic Gardens on India carried out experimental work on species selection, planting, harvesting, and manufacturing methods on quinine. Also, they facilitated plantations of these new and improved plant varieties from Kew. Even though quinine is not a commercial success to Britain, it helped maintain its colonies by protecting the health of its troops and civil servants versus malaria. Additionally, government manufactories produced a cheaper form of quinine, which is totoquine. Given the success of colonial plantations via Western scientific expertise, capital, and political power, these outcompeted native industries.
Before the arrival of the Europeans, the indigenous people were already aware of the elastic properties of the latex that comes from particular trees and plants, such as the Hevea species that is present in the Amazon basin, as well as the smoke ball method of latex processing. In 1876, the India Office and Kew Gardens collaborated to end Brazil's natural monopoly on Hevea species. Through Henry Wickham, 70,000 Hevea seeds were smuggled into Kew Gardens, and seedlings from those seeds were delivered to Ceylon. Through research and development work on those rubber seedlings, Ridley discovered the method of yielding latex without harming the tree, and Parking on Ceylon discovered the means of producing cleaner rubber.
Another continental plant is the sisal. Sisal hemp is a strong white fiber which was then used by the European and continental American farmers to bind with. The Kew Gardens released the Bulletin of Miscellaneous Information with a series of articles about the Mexican sisal industry to help other countries to establish their own sisal industries. One of these is Germany, which was defeated during the World War I and lost its colony, Tanzania, to Britain, which inherited the German sisal industry. Similar to other plantations, sisal was a product of underpaid workers. Manpower is also crucial in these colonial plantations. In areas where manpower is scarce, such as on the Amazon, forced labor and genocide occurred. When Britain moved plants on labor-abundant areas, local industries were undermined. Penal clauses on indenture systems forced people into virtual debt slavery. Workers also died due to the dire working and living conditions on these colonial plantations. Given the background on the plant transfers facilitated by botanic gardens, capitalism, and politics, it can be concluded that science, together with capital and political power, are the key factors in successful botanical imperialism. Colonial botany had a crucial role in strengthening the British Empire by providing profit to the country, health security to its troops and civil servants, and a strong influence on the world trade. Scientific institutions such as the Kew Gardens helped the British Empire via research and experimental work on these colonial plants to improve their variety and maximize profit, and also through information dissemination of the said plants.